I did not get to watch it.
Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. We're 5 minutes early for a change, so why not? We're talking about horror comedies today, and got a great bunch of people here. Over here, we've got Austin. Austin, how's it going?
Happy Scary Movie Month, everybody. I'm ready to talk the lighter side of horror. Let's talk some horror comedy.
Also here, we've got JPO. JPO, how's it going?
Howdy-ho. That's all I got.
Also here, we've got Stacy. Stacy, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Happy to be here.
And last but not least, we've got Richie. Richie, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Don't know how much of a delay I'm on, but we'll see what happens. Look, I might be coming to you from 30-second delay, but it's all good. I'm here. I like horror comedies, and I think there's a lot of them. So there we go.
So whenever you get this, Richie, it's about 3 to 4 seconds. So plan accordingly. I was waiting for the laugh. Thank you.
But with that being said, how Rankum works is we're going to go around in the panel and everyone's going to bring up a movie they think belongs on a top 12 list for horror comedies. And then at the end of the show, once we've formulated the 12 on the shortlist, we rank them. Pretty much simple like that. Austin, I'm going to go to you first. What is the first movie you're going to bring up?
Oh boy. Well, let's take a trip down in the time machine way, way back to 1948 for my very first pick here, my very first nomination. You got to go back to the original granddaddy of horror, the Universal horror films, and one of my favorite comedies to come out of that little movie called Abena and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So let's talk about that and why it's amazing to this day. One of the great comedy performances of all time from Lou Costello, playing off his always trusty, straight man, Bud Abbott. It's really great. It features a lot of the original actors playing their characters. You got Bela Lugosi playing Dracula. You've got Glenn Strange, who played the monster many times, playing the Frankenstein monster. And you've got Lon Chaney Jr. playing Larry Talbot, the Wolfman. And they actually have a little throwdown at the end. It's a lot of fun, but it still works today. Really great slapstick humor. And then I feel like this list deserves a little shot of the classics. You know, we should really honor the guys who really paved the way for everything else. So my first nomination is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Jordan, what do you say about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein?
I can't remember which Abbott and Costellos I saw, so I can't remember. I don't think I saw this one.
I should say I was ready I'm ready for everybody to say I haven't seen that. All right, moving on to the next nomination.
Stacey, have you seen Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein?
I have, and I love it. It was the movie that, as a child, made me obsessed with monster movies and vampires in particular. And as a kid, I was into horror, but I was also a big wuss. So, finding out about horror comedy was right up my alley. And it all goes back to Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So I'm completely on board with that one.
And Richie, what do you say about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein?
Yeah, I actually have seen this as well, not too long ago, actually. But I don't know why it didn't come into my mind when I thought of horror comedies. But yeah, I think this is one of the very first well-known horror comedies. I think we should have it on the list. So I'll say yes. I think.
And with that, it's already made the list. I haven't seen it, but I was going to say yes, just based on Austin's recommendation. It's one I actually meant to watch before this, but just didn't get around to it.
It's the best. I will say it's the best of the Meat ones. If you're going to start seeing any of them, the Meet Frankenstein, just real quick, is the best of them. They did also meet the Invisible Man. They met the Mummy. They met the Killer Boris Karloff. But this is the best of them. If you're going to start with any of them, Frankenstein is hands down the best, and kind of covers a lot of the monsters in general. So start with that. It's a lot of fun, and it's 82 minutes. It's a breeze. It's great.
But with that, we're going to go to JPO next. JPO, what's your first nomination?
All right, definitely. There's a good list here coming up. I'm gonna go with one. I'm gonna go Shaun of the Dead. I think it fits both criteria pretty well here. Of course, it starts off very very funny, very referential of the zombie world, but does have some really sad, if not very horrific moments, especially in kind of in that last half there. You know, when things go down, you start losing characters that you've kind of fallen to really like and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Shaun of the Dead as my nomination.
Stacy, what do you say about Shaun of the Dead?
I think it belongs on the list. It's on my list. It's a great choice.
Richie, what do you say about Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, I mean, I like Shaun of the Dead. It's fallen off at like a bit for me, like in regards to the Cornetto trilogy. But as you know, I am coming to appreciate like what World's End a bit better, and I always love Hot Fuzz. But yeah, like as a horror comedy, yeah, I think it deserves to be on this list. I think it is still, you know, it's very good. And yeah, like I think it definitely deserves to be on this list. So I would say yes, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Shaun of the Dead keeps popping up everywhere we talk about a lot on favorite movies list with its various things. So yeah, it's an easy yes for me. Shaun of the Dead's great. Austin, what would you have said about Shaun?
Oh yeah, this is a total easy shoe-in for Shaun of the Dead. I'm the same as Richie. It's kind of become my least favorite of the Cornettos, but even the least favorite of the Cornettos is still in like the top 5% of movies ever made. So it's still a great movie, and really great zombie tributes to older zombie films. The fact that it opens with the Dawn of the Dead '78 music over the credits is pretty great. And yeah, I think Edgar Wright knows what he's doing here. And yeah, this is easily going to top any kind of horror comedies list. So yeah, it's an easy yes for me.
And Stacy, what is your next movie you're going to bring up?
My favorite. I think very well. I'm apparently I can't speak. I think it blends the horror comedy and comedy very well. Neither really overpowers the other, and that's Cabin in the Woods, which I'm sure you're familiar with. I don't think I have to talk about it a whole lot, but it's funny and it's scary and it fits.
Richie, what do you say about The Cabin in the Woods?
I mean, you don't really need to go to Austin. I know what you're going to say. This is great. Yeah, it was one of the movies that was on my list. Yeah, like definitely. Like Chris Hemsworth before he was famous, but came out afterwards. But yeah, it was like he's really good at it, and yeah, like that ending is amazing. So yeah, I'll go yes. I have no problem saying yes.
I like The Cabin in the Woods. I think it's a really good movie, and this is an easy yes for me. Austin, what do you say about it?
No, you know I love Cabin in the Woods. I actually, funny enough, I debated a little bit on this one because I was trying to think about how much it actually qualified as a horror comedy overall. But when I sat down and thought about it, pretty much every Marty scene is funny. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff early on that's good. A lot of the stuff with Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford in the control room is actually very funny. You know, tequila is my lady. You know, like all that stuff is a lot of fun. So yeah, I definitely think it does. Although I debated it for at least a millisecond. But yes, I'll say yes to Cabin in the Woods.
And JPO, what would you have said about Cabin in the Woods?
Big hell yes for me. This was the next one I was going to bring up if it had made it to me again. Love this movie here. You know, it was held up a little bit due to like, you know, studio issues. And no, I think it definitely fits here, man. There's some great comedy, some great actual horror moments as well. You know, with the main lady, and then the crazy ass ending that I absolutely applaud. So absolutely big yes for me.
And Richie, what is your first movie you're going to bring up?
Well, yeah, the first movie I'm going to bring up is one that surprised the hell out of me because, you know, it came out direct to DVD, or here at least, and I wasn't expecting much, but I was entertained the hell up by this. I'm going to go Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I think this movie is very fun. This movie is so fun. Alan Tudyk and Taylor Devine are amazing. And it just has two sort of well-meaning hillbillies who just happen to, you know, accidentally kill kill a whole bunch of, like, you know, young people. I think they play with each other really well. And yeah, I really would like to see something more in this world, but I don't know if we'll get that. But I always champion Tucker and Dale vs. Evil whenever I can because I think it's amazing. So Tucker and Dale.
Yeah. So before I asked someone was actually going to be free, I actually reached out to him, going, "Oh, what are some horror comedies I should try and watch for this?" And this is one of them he brought up. So I watched it. And I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good movie. I'm going to give this a slight no. There's a lot. There's a lot that I like, and there's a lot of these horror comedies I've got on my list are 4 stars or higher, which is tacked out. There's like I told myself I'd say if it's in my top 25, I'll probably say yes to it. And unfortunately, Tackendale just falls just outside of that. But maybe on a rewatch, we'll go higher anyway. Austin, what do you say about Tackendale versus Evil?
I not only think Tucker and Dale versus Evil is one of the best horror comedies, I flat out think it's one of the best comedies of the 2010s period. And I advocated for that when we did it on Tier Ranker Fights, because I think it's one of the most brilliantly written comedies as far as the way the situations come about, the way the misunderstandings happen, and the way it's it portrays the horror, but it's completely, everything's a complete misunderstanding, a complete happenstance. Everybody just running crazy, throwing themselves into stakes, in mass graves, dudes chasing people with chainsaws, trying to wield, get bees away from them, running all over the place. It's a lot of fun. If you know horror movies, you'll have a great time. I just think the chemistry between Tyler Bean and Alan Tudyk is amazing. I think it's just one of the most brilliant comedies, period. So absolutely, I would say yes for this list for Tucker and Dale.
JPO, what do you say about Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
I'm going to literally reiterate what I said last time you checked in with me. Yes, I would have said this is the next one I would have said if it gotten back to me. So you guys are just throwing off my list here. So yeah, no, big yes here. I figured this was going to come up round one even. I'm not surprised it's a round one pick. So like I said, I'm not surprised I didn't even get to it. Yeah, big yes here. Again, fits the criteria very much here. And Levine and Tudyk are so damn good. Absolutely love them. I'm sad it didn't jumpstart Levine's career because I think he's great. He was great in a supernatural TV show, Reaper. And so yeah, big ol' yes.
Stacey, what do you say about Taekwondo versus Evil?
I watched it recently for the first time, and I was very glad I did. I'm glad you mentioned Reaper because I was trying to place him and I couldn't, and that's how I know him from. And yeah, no, they were fantastic. It's great. Everything everyone already said is correct.
And with that, Taekwondo does make this list. And for my first pick, I'm getting ready for only one person to have actually seen it. And of course, when I was doing this topic, I had to do it as a thumbnail. It's Black Sheep. Look, I rewatched this earlier. It's just really entertaining. Like zombie sheep attacking people and killing. Like it's always fun when a lot of horror movies turn some animals which are not normally known for killing people into vicious killers. This is a lot of fun, and if you just want a horror comedy, it's a lot of fun with a lot of great New Zealand humor. Then Black Sheep is one to check out. Austin, what do you say about Black Sheep?
Man, I love Chris Farley and David Spade. They just have amazing chemistry rolling down. Oh, wait, it's a different movie. Sorry. Dude, Malcolm, why didn't you text me and tell me about this movie? I would have watched it. It's on Tubi. I would have watched it before this episode if I had known. I didn't even know about this movie, so I apologize, but I have to abstain. Yeah, I don't know that.
No, it's all good. I mean, I did have it in the chat. I should have probably reiterated it when you jumped on.
Reiterate, yeah. Be like, hey, watch Black Sheep. I would have. Yeah, totally.
But JPO, did you watch Black Sheep?
Unfortunately, I got to disappoint you as well. I have heard of this movie. It's been on my radar since basically it came out. Like it snuck out, to US, DVD markets and whatnot. Even back in the day. But yeah, it's never something I got to yet.
I mean, as Austin said, it's on Tubi.
It's on Prime. It's on Vudu. It's everywhere over here for free. So yeah, I definitely would have if you would have emphasized it more for sure. I would have squeezed it in.
But Stacey, I'm pretty sure. I think you said earlier you hadn't seen it.
Yeah. No, I did want to try to squeeze it in because you had mentioned it, and I just hadn't. I didn't get to it, unfortunately.
That's totally fair. Richie,
and now we go to one person that you. The one person that you were implying when you said I've seen this movie. Yes, I've seen this movie because I used to live in New Zealand. Yeah, this movie is bonkers. I really love it. And it's like, I mean, if you knew New Zealand actors who are on TV, literally literally everybody appears in this movie from like New Zealand, like pop culture. It's fucking it's just very like I don't know if it's for everybody, but it's a bonkers movie and just a bonkers premise. I would have said yes, but I understand. It's not a widely seen movie outside of like maybe New Zealand and Australia. So I can understand why people said no. But like I would recommend still check it out, especially if it's on Tubi. It's fun.
Hey, I'll watch it. It's October. I'm only watching horror movies unless I have to watch something else for a specific reason. So I'll watch it.
True. I'll try to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Austin, knowing some of the movies you like,
I'm
pretty sure it's up your alley.
Oh, come on! Of course, I love it.
But Austin, we go back to you.
Well, I'll at least go adjacent to your thing. I will stick with New Zealand and a New Zealand filmmaker who made a brilliant movie, and my favorite movie of his, Taika Waititi's What We Do in the Shadows, I believe deserves to be on this list. An absolutely brilliant comedy paying homage to all the great vampire films of old. And it's really great what they do. Each of the characters kind of represents a different era or type of vampires. One of them looks like Vlad the Impaler. Taika himself is kind of a Victorian era sort of Interview with the Vampires type vampire. And then Peter down in the basement is straight up Nosferatu, which is pretty great. And I love their interactions with the werewolves and kind of this mythology they set up of them going to this big gala of all the witches and everything. It's a lot of fun. It pays tribute to a lot of great horror kind of mythos and things. So, What We Do in the Shadows, Taika Waititi should be on this list.
Jordan, what do you say about What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, this is one I was late to the party on, but I love this movie too. This is one I slightly debated on because I do think the comedy is forefront, and it's not necessarily like horrific in many degrees, other than the fact that they are vampires murdering people. But no, I think it does deserve to be on this list here because it is vampires at the forefront and werewolves as well here. Not werewolves. So love this movie here. Definitely worth checking out. If for a reason that anyone hasn't seen this, go check this out right now. Big yes.
Stacey, what do you say about What We Do in the Shadows?
I think it deserves to be on the list, and I think maybe it should be number one. It is one of my favorite movies, period. It was going to be the next one I brought up, and it's just so good. It's just so funny, and there's not a lot of horror. It is more comedy, but it doesn't matter. It's so good.
Richie, what would you have said about What We Do in the Shadows?
I mean, like, I forget. I honestly, forgot about, like, even though how much I love the movie, I forgot about it when I like sort of compiling a list. I'm like, what? But it is a horror comedy. It certainly is. But it's just like, especially that scene where he bites the neck and he hits a vein and the blood just goes.
I'm trying to catch it.
It's definitely yes. It's one of my favorite comedies, and it's definitely hard to come. So I'd say yes.
This was going to be the next one I brought up. I only brought up Black Sheep first just because I knew there was a risk bringing it up from the first place. But What We Do in the Shadows is great. And even the TV show is just as good as well. But for that, What We Do in the Shadows makes the list, and we go back to JPO.
Yeah, and also just real quick, ditto. That show's awesome. I love that show. Almost great. Everyone's great in that cast. Anyway, what I'm going to nominate here, actually, we might even hear from this director more than once potentially. Happy Death Day. I'm going to go ahead and nominate from 2017. You got, of course, the Groundhog's Day effect here of her trying to figure out who's trying to kill her every single day. And I think Jessica Rothe is absolutely perfect in this role here. Someone that again has a nice little arc of she's not the best character, and you kind of learn to love her, and she kind of learns herself here as well. So good sequel as well, which I find to be less horror, but the first one definitely has those elements here. So Happy Death Day, I nominate.
Stacey, what do you say about Happy Death Day?
I agree. It's on my list, and it's a lot of fun, and the sequel's a lot of fun, and I definitely think it deserves to be there.
Richie, what do you say about Happy Death Day?
Again, I have a list, but I feel like I'm just admitting that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It does count. I'm not like I'm definitely not excluding it. It does count. Like, it's not like I wouldn't say the comedy is outright like average, but like it's definitely tries for comedy. So and it's hard, and I do like the concept. And yeah, you're right. Like the second one's more sci-fi horror kind of thing. So but the first one though is yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'd say yes.
Yeah, happy it's an easy yes for me as well. Like, I love Happy Death Day. It's just one of those concepts that when I heard about is like this probably won't work, but I went in and it just really worked. And yeah, as Jordan said, like there's another movie I'm probably going to bring up from the same director, which is probably just as good. But Austin, what do you say about Happy Death Day?
Yeah, it's funny. It was kind of on my longer list, like maybe not as high up on my list, but it's on there. And to be fair, if somebody brings it up and it's on my short list, I'll probably say yes. And yeah, I think Happy Death Day definitely counts. There's that great montage in the middle where she keeps dying and getting more and more injuries. She getting hit with a bat and getting stabbed, and she keeps popping up and waking up. And the more and more she freaks out about being stuck in this time loop, it definitely gets more comedic as it goes. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So sure, I'll give a yes to Happy Death Day.
And with that, Happy Death Day does make the list. And Stacey, we go back to you.
Well, this is going really fast, so I'm going to bring up a nostalgic favorite that probably will not go through, but that's okay. Monster Squad, which, again, going back to the love of the Universal monsters that started with Abena and Costello, Monster Squad just continued that as a kid. Wolfman's got nards, the little sister telling him not to be chicken shit. The dog is so damn cute, and it's a fun movie, I think. I know it's not the most popular, and I don't even know if you guys have seen it, but it's like Goonies with monsters.
Richie, what do you say about Monster Squad?
This is one written by Shane Black.
Yeah, Shane Black wrote it and Fred Decker directed it. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of things. I haven't watched it yet, so I have to abstain.
Yeah, unfortunately, this was on the list of movies I wanted to watch for this. I just didn't get around to it. Austin, what do you say about Monsters?
I don't want to make Stacey mad. I have seen it. I've seen this movie 3 or 4 times, and mainly because I give it a shot just about every year to try and like it. I don't really love the Monster Squad, and I think the problem with it is I didn't grow up with it, either that or the Goonies I didn't grow up with. So I came to it like in my late 20s when I first saw it, like on Prime. And I was just like, it's all right. I mean, I can appreciate what they're going for. I'm just not really a fan. So I have to say no, but I admire you bringing it up because I did consider it. But I'm just not personally a fan of it. So I have to say no. But I do admire, there's a movie I'll probably bring up in my honorable mentions because there's no way people have all seen the other movie that Fred Decker directed that I could bring up, but I'll probably bring it up in my honorable mentions that I like more. So
it looks like JP, I was just getting some advice of what to nominate next, but what do you say about Monster Squad, JP?
She hasn't seen it. I haven't seen it. Yeah, I know there's love for this movie here. It's only been on my radar the last few years. It's kind of popped up on my radar. So yeah, unfortunately, I just haven't seen it.
I'm old. I should probably point that out. Like I grew up with these movies, so yeah.
Hey,
I know that movie's not love.
I was born, Stacey. I was born in '86. I'm 36 years old. I didn't grow up with the movie. I never saw it for a long time. Like I'd heard of it. I didn't get around to it for forever. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm 37. I didn't get around to seeing it.
I'm not going to say how old I am, but it's older.
You don't have to. You don't have to say
Sorry. But Richie, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
So I'm torn between two because one I will definitely get brought up eventually. One I don't know, and I don't think it's too new, but I'll let someone else bring up the one that's obvious, maybe. But I'm going to bring up one that came out sort of recently in the last couple of years that I really enjoyed, and that is Freaky with Vince Vaughn. And I think this movie rules. I think it is quite funny. I think he's really good as this playing the girl, body swapping, playing the woman is sort of like, almost better than like Jack Black does in Jumanji kind of thing. But like, I just really enjoy this concept here, and also, yeah, but also, yeah, Vince Vaughn is really good at playing this menacing sort of character as well. And I think it's a lot of fun. I can understand why if people haven't seen it, because it's like newer than a lot of other ones we'll bring up, but I thought I had to bring it up. So Freaky.
Yeah, this is Vince Vaughn's better role playing as serial killer. The other one that people don't like to talk about from '98. But yeah, this is the other one JP was referencing from the same director of Happy Death Day. Freaky is just one of those movies which, once again, it's a concept that sounded interesting. I didn't think it was going to work, but I ended up loving it a lot. And this was the one I was hoping to rewatch for this, but there's a few others that I hadn't seen in a while that I wanted to rewatch for this. So, but yeah, Freaky's a yes for me. Austin, what do you say about Freaky?
I like Freaky. I don't love Freaky. I like it. I enjoy it, but to me, like, I got like 15 other movies on my list that I would put way higher than Freaky on my personal list. So for this one, I didn't put it on my short list. I'm going to say no, but I do enjoy Freaky.
JPO, what do you say about Freaky?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. I mentioned it before from Christopher Landon. I almost remember when it coming out. I was like, "Is he going to the same well too much?" But it's a well that he's really good at. So you guys have already mentioned it. But this almost restored my faith in Vince Vaughn. You know, his last couple of movies that I haven't really loved that much, but he goes full ham in this. He's great. I like the leading lady. I like her two friends. And if you like the gore, there's some gnarly kills in this. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a yes.
And Stacey, what would you have said about Freaky?
Well, the kills are good, and Vince Vaughn is funny, and I really don't like it because they make him better at being a girl, even though he's like a bum that lives in a rundown, abandoned warehouse and doesn't brush his teeth. But somehow he is the perfect girl who can do his makeup and do a perfect ponytail and flirt with all the guys, and it is just so damn stupid that they do it that way. So it really, and I want to love the movie. I love the concept, and there is some really funny parts, but it just ruins it for me.
I have a confession, Stacey. I like the hot chick more than I like Freaky with Rob Schneider. Hot take.
But yeah,
and I know you guys are all guys, and you probably don't think about it when he turns into the girl, and
it's fair. No argument. When you said that, I was like, "That's a very fair point."
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those things that I didn't occur to me. But yeah, but it comes.
What was the point? Sorry, I missed it.
The point was that Vince Vaughn is like this bum, like homeless, like serial killer guy, and then all of a sudden becomes in the girl's body and does like perfect makeup and perfect hair and all this stuff, girl stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
that's a criticism of the movie.
Yeah,
from Stacey.
It makes
me
crazy.
Criticism.
I have a letterboxed review that talks about it in links.
Fair enough. That is actually fair.
But yeah,
5 more slots, people. It's going quick.
Yeah. I'm struggling to think of which way I want to go. There's 2 movies in the same franchise I want to go with. I'm going to lean to the one that is more a perfect blend of horror and comedy. One I like more, but I'm going to go for Army of Darkness. Well, yes, I think Evil Dead 2 is probably the better movie. I think Army of Darkness is the perfect horror comedy because it sort of makes that blend of comedy and horror and mixes it up, and it's just really entertaining. And Bruce Campbell's just amazing and as Ash. I'm not sure if he's coming back for this one or if I mean, they haven't said. I think they've said he's not coming back, but I wouldn't rule out his unannounced cameo. But yeah, I mean, Bruce Campbell is perfect as Ash. Army of Darkness is great. I think most everyone's seen this by now. I think, yeah. Austin, what do you say about Army of Darkness?
You started talking about franchise. I thought you were talking about another franchise. I might bring it up in a second where I was debating which one. But yes, Army of Darkness is high up on my list, so it's a definite yes for me. Yeah, Army of Darkness definitely is more goofy and leans into the comedy more than Evil Dead 2 does, although Evil Dead 2 does have its comedic slapstick, zany moments, but it's still trying to scare you. It's still trying to have those scary moments. Army of Darkness is just straight up like a comedy with monsters, with skeletons, with creatures. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the Ray Harryhausen like stop motion skeleton fights and things like that. They're really great. And I still think some of the creature design is fun. And yeah, Bruce Campbell's on the top of his game in here. So yes to Army of Darkness.
JPO, what do you say about Army of Darkness?
Well, luckily you were right. We have seen it by now because I've actually only gone to this in the last like a year or two. But yeah, I did enjoy it here. I more and more am seeing why people love Bruce Campbell. You know what I mean? I don't know if I was late to the party. I was like, he's the dude that pops up in Spider-Man for 5 seconds. It was kind of all he was to me for a little bit there. And Burn Notice guy. But no, he's great in this. This is the funniest of the franchise pretty easily here. And yeah, I think fits it. So yeah, let's go for it. I agree. Yes.
Stacy, what do you say about Army of Darkness?
I reiterate everything. I think of the franchise, it fits the best. It is the funniest. It is so much fun, and it's on my list. I definitely think it belongs in the top 12.
And Richie, what do you say about Army of Darkness?
Yeah, definitely. I think it should be on this list. Yeah, I probably would have brought it up next had you not brought it up. So yeah, definitely.
But I mean, let's make the list, and Austin, we go back.
So when you were talking about a franchise thing and picking one of the two, I had this debate on my nomination as to which of the two to nominate in the franchise. I'm going to go with Gremlins 2, The New Batch, the sequel, because of how wacky it is, because of how zany it is, because of the sheer anarchy. The creature design is off the hook in this movie. All the different gremlins that they introduced, the electric gremlin, the spider gremlin, the veggie gremlin, the gargoyle gremlin, everything. So much fun. But I mean, it's still a horror movie. They're still biting people and attacking people all over the place and causing mayhem and causing chaos. And it's a lot of fun. Joe Dante just did not give an F in this movie, and it's awesome, and it's on screen. I think it's one of the most entertaining movies ever made, and it's one of my favorite movies ever made. So I'm going to shoot my shot for Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
JPO, what do you say about Gremlins 2, The New Batch?
The opposite of what I said before. I haven't seen it.
Watch it.
Stacey, what do you say about Gremlins 2, The New Batch?
Gizmo always gets my vote. Always.
There you go.
Richie, what do you say about Gremlins 2, The New Batch?
Yeah, no, this is great. Yeah, JPO had a look on his face like he was going to say no, and then when he hadn't even seen it, yeah, no, this was great. Yeah, I love how meta it is. Love it. Love the probably the best performance of by Hulk Hogan in a movie, even though he's apparently not in the all the other every version apparently. But I'll say yes. Yeah.
With that, Gremlins 2 does make the list. Those that know me know that I'm famous for my hot takes. I'm not talking about the Johnny Depp Heard movie that's on Tubi. But yeah, I do not like Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
Why? It's amazing.
I mean, look, maybe it's because I just didn't grow up with this. I'd seen the first Gremlins a long time ago. I only recently watched Gremlins 2 for the first time sort of last year and that. It's just one of those ones that, I mean, I just thought it just veered the franchise off too far from the goofiness.
Yes, into amazing territory, into a glorious new wonderland of amazing film area. Yeah, I agree. It's amazing where they went.
It's just, yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like to me, it's like it veers too far. Like for me, it veers too far into the comedy as opposed to like a perfect blend of horror and comedy. But yeah, it's making the list regardless of what I say. I'm just still going to say no. Yeah. With that, JPO, what is your next movie you're going to bring up?
Alrighty, as the cool kids say, I'm going to shoot my shot.
I know what Malcolm's voting for number 12. All right, so here we go. He'll stick with it for a while.
I'm going to shoot my shot. I don't know if anyone's seen this here. It's probably definitely the least of the budgets here so far. I'm going to go with Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon from, I think, 2005. This is a great, super low budget here. It's about a guy who brings along a documentary crew and they study him as he plots his serial killings he's about to do, and it's great because it plays along with the archetypes of him setting up different things, and oh, I bet you they're gonna come into this area. It's very funny, it's very smart, and worth checking out. And it definitely involves again into very horror elements. The main lady of the crew, kind of finally gets a bit of a conscience towards the end, and it's a really good flick. Behind the Mask.
Stacey, what do you say about Behind the Mask?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen it, but I think I might check it out. It sounds fun.
Richie, what do you say about Behind the Mask?
Look, I appreciate you shooting your shot, but I haven't seen it. So
That's how I felt this was gonna go.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I believe it's Kane Hodder is Leslie Vernon, or it's one of the
No, it's actually not. Yeah,
it's a normal dude, as far as I know, normal dude. Robert Englund's in it. I don't know if Hodder's in it briefly, but
that's what I was thinking. I knew one of the Freddy Jason.
Freddy's in it.
Yeah, actors
England's
in
in it,
it.
rather.
I just thought, but yeah, awesome. What you said about Behind the Mask.
So JPO, I'm well aware of this movie. I've seen scenes from it. I've been meaning to watch it for 10 years, and I've never sat down and watched it. I swear I will sit down and watch it because here's the thing: I have the Scream Factory Blu-ray sitting right there. I still haven't cracked it open. So
have it?
I have it, and I still haven't watched it.
It's behind you. Get to it.
I know. I've been meaning to sit down and I don't know what's stopping me because I love found footage movies too, and I like the concept, and I just have not.
It does make a weird decision, the last 20 minutes, they just do away with the found footage. There's a couple of weird decisions, but it's an interesting flick.
I appreciate you shooting your shot. I'm well aware of the movie. I'm well aware of the movie.
It fit this category very well.
No, it does. It does, yeah.
But with that, we go back to Stacey. What is the next movie you're going to bring up?
My next movie is Scream, and I know that leans a lot more into the horror, but every time Stu opens his mouth, it's hilarious. The meta take is a lot of fun. I know a lot of people now have seen Scary Movie before they ever saw Scream, and yeah, I know that's a thing that happens.
People. No,
and it's wrong. But I don't know. I've always loved Scream, and I think it paved the way for a lot of things like Ready or Not, which I think is a good one. And I think it's funny enough to be on the list, even though it is more of a horror.
Yeah. Just for clarification, it is the original Scream, not the one that just
the original Scream.
Yeah.
Damn you, Scream 5, for making us have to do that every time we talk about it.
But Richie, what do you say about the original Scream?
Well, look, I love Scream. I think it's amazing. But yeah, I don't. When I consider horror comedy, I just think that there's more, that fits this that fits this sort of subgenre. Even though I don't think it's totally out of place being on this list. I just consider it. I consider it more a horror movie, even though there are funny moments in it. Obviously I don't know if it was intentionally funny the cat door thing throws Miguel, and Stu's quite fun, funny. But yeah, I'm going to say no, but I appreciate you doing that.
I know that's hard for Richie because he loves Scream. He loves Scream.
Yeah. Is
someone murdering your dog in your house?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, probably.
Did you just say probably?
Well, I mean, no, I mean, the way that my dog keeps barking, you would think that, but it's just someone's just walking past the house.
Watch your words, Malcolm. Unlikely, yes. Weird things happen here.
But yeah, I will say that with Scream, I had the same thing because when I was researching this, it came up on a lot of horror comedy lists. So I had to really think, is it really in that ballpark? And I did actually rewatch all the Scream franchise sort of this week, but just because I felt like we rewatched Scream anyway. But yeah, but ultimately, I'm going to give this a slight yes. I do think it does have really good comedic moments, which make it work as a horror comedy. But yeah, it's one of those ones that's definitely really borderline.
Mhm.
Austin, what do you say about the original?
Yeah, it's funny. When I was doing my research for this, I looked up a lot of lists from like magazines and websites and things. I disagreed with a lot of picks for like horror comedies. That people bring up, like flat out disagreed. Scream is one I really debated on. Like I went really back and forth on it. I ultimately decided in my head it's way more of a horror movie than a comedy. It's just a horror movie with a sense of humor, about itself, and a couple of good comedic horror, a couple of comedic moments. But I think on this one, I think it needs to lean a little more into the comedy than the original Scream does. I think Scream 3 is way more of a slapstick, goofy comedy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Scream
Being
3
honest, Scream 3
Yeah,
is
yeah,
way
I
more
don't know.
goofy.
I don't know what Diaz is talking about, but yeah, 3 maybe.
Yeah, Scream 2 is way more serious. I don't know what you're talking about than the first or the third one. But I'm going to say no for that reason, but I do like Scream. So I don't want to disrespect. Like, I do love Scream, but, I think I would lean on the side of horror.
And honestly, I think even Scream 4 really leans into the comedy as well.
Yeah,
the first 10 minutes for sure.
JPO, what do you say about the original Scream?
This is exactly what I didn't want to happen for it to be on me, because I'm in the same ballpark as Richie, man. I have tremendous love for Scream. This is like my OG number one horror. I'm gonna also, because I'm gonna also say no, just based on kind of like everyone's kind of said as with it just has a sense.
It's more about the topic. It's not like this is the movie. It's more about the topic.
I saw this, like Pat said, I saw this on list too, and I actually don't have it on my list, despite Scream being like my number one horror. I didn't have it on mine because I was like, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just
I
slightly
could hate it myself, but then I thought about all of the moments that make me laugh.
It is. I mean, Randy Stew. Yeah, it's there, man. Like, if it made it, I wouldn't have fought it. But yeah, I'll say no too. I'm sorry,
but I get it.
Yeah.
But with that, Richie, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, I'm kind of surprised that it's come back to me and it has been brought up, but I'll bring it up. I'll just say, great opening montage for Whom the Dolls. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Zombieland here. I think, I think Zombieland is a great horror comedy. The chemistry between Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg in particular is really great. It really makes a movie. But yeah, like Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin are also really great. And then, obviously one of the best. I don't even know. People call it a cameo. He's in it enough. But like the Bill Murray thing, obviously is very memorable. I think it's just a really fun movie, and also has Amber Heard getting killed with a toilet seat at the start. So I'll say Zombieland.
This is the movie I was talking about when I said there's a few movies that I wanted to watch for this that I just hadn't seen in ages. Like, it's been a while since I've seen Zombieland. I think last time I watched it was when the sequel came out. But yeah, I love Zombieland. It's a really good movie. And just rewatch it again sort of solidifies how much I love it. Like, I watched this and the sequel sort of back to back, and both are great. But yeah, Zombieland is the better of the two, so it's an easy yes for me, and I think I know where Austin's going on this. Austin,
it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's on my it's in those like top 10 on here. Like, I love Zombieland so much. That opening stuff with all the rules is great. You can't go wrong with a movie that opens for Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica. Great, one of the best opening credit sequences of all time. I think the chemistry between all the main characters, especially Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg, is great. I think it really shot in the arm a zombie genre that was kind of starting to fade a little bit, and I think this movie came along and really gave it a nice shot in the arm. So I'll say yes to Zombieland.
JPO, what do you say about Zombieland?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a yes as well. When Richie said, I'm surprised it hasn't been said yet. I was like, he's talking about Zombieland, isn't he? Because I figured it was one that'd be brought up sooner or later here. I mean, as everyone said, great opening montage, even like a good horrific ending at the end too. You're not quite sure what's gonna happen here, but you fall in love with the four. That's why we wanted a sequel all those years later. So I'm gonna say yes, Zombieland for sure.
And Stacey, what do you say about Zombieland?
It was almost my pick instead of Scream, and it would have been my next pick had it not come up. So I'm definitely on board with that.
But that Zombieland does make the list, and it comes back to me. But yeah, I'm going to try and get in Austin's good graces again after me saying no to Gremlins 2, and there's a movie that
He'll be back in my bad graces when he starts downvoting it on it. Like I said, number 12, Gremlins 2, Gremlins 2, Gremlins 2. It's all right.
But yeah, I mean, there's a movie that where this topic came up. This one was top of my list for movies I knew I had to see because it's one I've been meaning to see for ages. Just had a lot of other things I had to watch for it, and it's Tremors.
Yeah.
Tremors is a lot of fun, and it's just it's Kevin Bacon. I think a lot of the other people are not really known for much else. Maybe
Reba. Fred Ward. Rest in peace, Fred Ward.
but yeah,
Michael Gross is on that sitcom people like.
But yeah, I love Tremors. I think it's great. It's just one of those ones like it's different. You can definitely tell like it's where James Gunn got the inspiration for Sliver from the design of it at times as well. It's just a lot of fun. Austin, what do you say about Tremors?
Oh, come on, man. Tremors is like my number 2 movie of all time. Are you kidding me? I love Tremors. I think Tremors is the greatest. And I was hesitant to bring it up because I didn't know if people would go for it. But you know what? You brought it up, Malcolm. You're back in my good graces forever. Yes, I freaking love Tremors. There's a great buddy comedy at the center of that thing with Val and Earl. It's a lot of fun. It's a really breezy, entertaining watch. It's got a great sense of humor about itself. Tons of great jokes, tons of great stuff. And yeah, it never takes itself too seriously. It's awesome. I love Tremors. I can't speak enough highly about it.
JPO, what do you say about Tremors?
I'm more of a Trevor 7 Shriekers Island kind of guy.
Yeah, John Heater kind of guy.
Since we're talking about the first one, I was waiting for this to be brought up. I'm like, Pez not brought this up yet.
I didn't know if people would go for it. I don't know. It seems to always die a death in the first round of tournament fights every time it comes up.
Well, yeah, but we're here in a very specified category. I agree. I gotta say yes. It was on my list, and I was like, that fits it again. You know what I mean? This movie's funny. This movie kills off some characters. Let's go for it, man. Tremors. I agree.
I mean, to be fair, you also didn't know that people were going to go for Abena and Costello when you put that.
Well, you never know, man. Like, I don't know. It depends on the people. Like, I didn't know people had even seen it, honestly. Yeah.
But Stacey, what do you say about Tremors?
I have seen Tremors, but it has been a very, very long time, so I really can't have much of an opinion on it. I need to rewatch it, and I wanted to before this, but I did not get to.
And Richie, what do you say about Tremors?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, I thought we'd be talking about this earlier, but yeah, it's fantastic. So yeah, definitely.
But if that we go back to Austin,
this might be perfect. It always comes back around to me. I'm wearing the damn shirt. We saw, we kicked its ass. Who are you gonna call? What's a list like this out without Ghostbusters? Come on, Ghostbusters has to be on this list. Great supernatural horror comedy, amazing all-time classic film. It definitely qualifies as a horror film. There's all kinds of wacky paranormal ghost stuff going on. I think there's some genuinely freaky sequences. The opening, Ghost is genuinely freaky. I think the part where Sigourney Weaver gets taken by the demon dogs, grabbing her out of the chair is pretty terrifying. And come on, some of the greatest one-liners and character moments in history. Come on, this is an easy closer, guys. Ghostbusters, let's close it out and wrap this thing up.
But yeah, so obviously you're talking about Ghostbusters 2016.
Of course. You mean Ghostbusters Answer the Call? No, not that movie.
But JPO, what do you say about Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters is fantastic, wonderful comedy. I say no.
Really?
Chaos. Follow me, Richie. Chaos.
Stacey, what do you say about Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I do usually think of it as more of a comedy and almost kind of a family film, I guess maybe because of how old I was when I watched it and it didn't scare me. But it does have some really scary moments here and there, and I struggle. I mean, they made it into a cartoon. So I struggle with it being categorized really as a
He
horror.
said no to Scream, Stacy. He said
That's
no to
true. He
Scream.
did say no to Scream,
Revenge.
but so did you.
Good point.
It's
I'm gonna let the rest
Ghostbusters.
of
Are
you
you
decide.
kidding
I'll
me?
say no and we'll leave it up to you guys. I won't be mad at it going through, but I think there's other stuff.
Richie, what do you say about Ghostbusters?
I gotta get the door, but I'll say yes.
Which puts it right on me. And this is one that I really struggled with a lot because, once again, it came up on a lot of lists. And it's one that, like Stacey, I was watching this like a few times. Like, I don't know if I call it a horror comedy. It's
Supernatural is
Well,
horror. Supernatural
no.
is horror. Supernatural is horror. Period. It's its own subgenre of horror. It absolutely is.
That's not what I was getting at when I was getting. I know Supernatural is type of horror. It's
Say no for him interrupting you.
You know what, Jordan? Don't
Now you're gonna say
appreciate
yes
you
to
trying
interrupt
to
me?
influence the vote. I'm going to say yes.
I deserved it.
If that Ghostbusters makes the list.
I just really wanted to vote for the final girls. Damn it.
Oh, that was on my list.
Good.
Yeah,
job.
see? We could have done it.
It's good. It's
Richie,
not
you
great.
screwed the final girls. Okay, because Ghostbusters needs more love.
I'm sorry. It's an all-time
Their
list.
list is very
Sorry.
large.
I mean, you
I
could have chosen.
retroactively take away my Tremors.
You could have said
I mean-
instead of behind the mask, Leslie Vernon. I probably would have said yes.
I got my shows confused. I thought I was gonna have a second shot. That's a different show.
Yeah. We'll get to our honorable mentions here.
But yeah, with that, going to go to honorable mentions. Richie, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
All right, cool. Idle Hands is a really fun movie.
Yeah.
Was it, you know, a guy, a guy who's like his right hand goes rogue and just starts killing people. It's amazing. Yeah. The Final Girls. Obviously, we talked about. You brought up Slither. I might have brought up. I think that's horror comedy.
Look, Richie,
like,
Scream Factory's Idle Hands. Hey, nice.
It's a great movie. That's great. Just a couple ones I wouldn't have brought up because they're like more Australian and British one. But there's a movie called there's a British cricket horror movie called I Know How Many Runs You Scored Last Summer. Not a very nutso movie. And then there's a movie called there's an Australian movie called A Thousand Bloody Acres, which is pretty good. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything that I would have brought up really. Yeah. So, but yeah, but definitely like the main one is probably Idle Hands. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, like, I really, this is the end, was very close to sort of making it. It's one that I didn't bring up just because I thought it was more post-apocalyptic than a horror movie.
Yeah, I struggled with that one too because I do love that one.
Another one that I watched for this, I thought Piers was going to bring up. They Live.
I don't think it's a comedy. I don't think it's that much of a comedy. I don't like
Yeah.
that much of They Live. I would have
There's
said
a couple
no.
like funny moments, but not
I don't
enough
think it's
to
that much of a comedy.
sway it. Yeah,
I
I agree.
actually started watching it because I'd never seen it.
I
And about
also
halfway
think
through, I was like, I haven't laughed at all, so I
Right,
think
yeah.
I'm gonna like
I-
put my
I
time
also
there.
would
agree,
argue it's
but-
more of a science fiction movie than a horror movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's ultimately why
Definitely
I
more
chose not-
sci-fi than comedy.
Yes.
That's ultimately why I chose not to bring it up. I wanted to. I thought it was very funny, but one that I did consider bringing up, but I knew that Piers wasn't going to go for it. What could I picture show? But I don't know how it would have gone for everyone else. And I did almost continue my trend of bringing up New Zealand-made movies and bringing up The Frighteners.
That was on my
I
list.
think, and the last one I will throw out there is I enjoy it. A lot of people seem to not. Hocus Pocus. Also, Chopping Mall is great.
Chopping Mall is going to be in my top 32 championship.
Yeah, and I've finally seen it.
Yeah.
Austin, what are some honorable mentions?
I didn't even put Chopping Mall on there for consideration because I was like, nobody loves Chopping Mall like I do, but you know, we'll see. But yeah, I debated on This Is the End, so that was maybe on there. Fred Decker's movie before Monster Squad, Stacy Night of the Creeps, I'm a big fan of, and it's got a lot of comedy in there. Young Frankenstein from Mel Brooks, I considered because it's a throwback to the Universal Monster movies as well. Bubba Hotep with Bruce Campbell is a lot of fun. Return of the Living Dead, total blast. Beetlejuice, I considered. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Look, I like Casper. I grew up with it. I think it's enough horror comedy in there to make an argument. And a movie I'm a big fan of that I think is really underrated. I really love the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black. I might have considered that one.
Yeah.
JPO, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, ones I had on the deck. Final Girls. I think it's a great, horror fan getting sucked into a horror movie. It's a really fun flick. Voices with Ryan Reynolds, where his pets talk to him and he murders lots of people. Bride of Chucky. Chucky goes full on funny in Bride of Chucky. I was going to nominate the Fright Night remake. I thought had a good balance of horror and comedy with Anton Yelchin and Colin Farrell. And another shoot my shot movie that definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen or even heard of. Come to Daddy with Elijah Wood, where he gets a letter from his long lost father, and then he meets him, and he is weird AF, and then it just goes even more off the rails. Come to Daddy, check that one out.
Damn it! Another New Zealand movie that I consider bringing up is like, oh no one else has seen. They haven't seen Black Sheep. They probably would have seen that.
Wait, which movie?
Come to Daddy. It's another New Zealand made movie.
Oh, okay, sweet. I didn't even know that. Well,
but
I would have had you at.
Stacey, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Well, like I said, The Frighteners was probably going to be my next pick. The Burbs is another nostalgic pick that I love. A very nostalgic pick that I probably wouldn't have brought up because I know it never would have gotten through, but I adore Transylvania 65000. I don't know if any Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. Yeah. It's bad. It's not a good movie, but it's so it's close to my heart. It's so fun. Let's see, The Babysitter on Netflix, I think is a really
I thought about that.
Underrated, good horror, funny movie. Jennifer's Body, The Voices, which I like more than most people. I think based on the concept in the cat alone, I love The Voices. Final Girls, which was mentioned, and one movie that I think I might be the only person that likes, I don't know, but I think it's a lot of fun, and that is Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Another Landon flick.
Another Elijah Wood movie that it's sort of horror. It's decent. Check it out. It's a Netflix movie. It's called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore with him.
Dude, I love that movie. I didn't have to think about that as horror, but yeah,
I don't think
I love that movie.
Yeah.
That was in my top 20 of that year. Yeah.
But anyway, talking about Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum, next week's episode of Rankin is going to be horror remakes reboot. So
also, if you want to go with Elijah Wood, the faculty and Cooties.
I love Elijah Wood.
But that's some that we brought up in the chat. Chris Dares brought up Little Shop of Horrors.
I thought about Little Shop. I love it, but
come on, guys.
I don't think it was horror enough.
That's why I didn't bring it up, but it was on my short list.
I mean, when it comes to Little Shop of Horrors, I think it's more musical than horror comedy.
That's what I mean.
It's more of a horror musical.
But I mean, it's got horrific elements. Everyone dies.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's not a horror comedy. It's but he also brought up Ready or Not.
I thought about that.
Then Brian brought up Scary Movie 2.
That's not horror. I guess
Scary Movie 1.
I consider Scary Movie 1. The original one sticks actually very close to the Scream format. Like it's a little more like it's still not very horrific.
It's so spoofy though. I'm like I'm not, and it's not trying to scare you. So I never even thought about those really.
Yeah, and when it comes to the Scary Movie franchise, like my favorite one is actually 4. But even then, that's goes less.
I will agree.
relevant.
I think I'd have to rewatch them. That 4 is the best of the last 3, but the first 2 are better than 4.
Yeah. Anyway, it's time to get into the ranking of these. How we do this, we write on our whiteboard or bit of paper, whatever is handy, what we want at number 12, and then sort of we go up. I think I've put everything, yes. And just to recap what we've got on this list, we've got Abena and Costello meet Frankenstein, Shaun the Dead, The Cabin in the Woods, Taekwondo vs. Evil, What We Do in the Shadows, Happy Death Day, Freaky, Army of Darkness, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, Zombieland, Tremors, and Ghostbusters.
That's a good list. I like it. That's sexy.
So to be clear, we go 12 to 1.
12 to 1.
I didn't. My whiteboard isn't handy because I didn't know about this part, so I'll have to use paper.
It's all good. Like you can just say it if you want.
Yeah, Mug, we never do tell first timers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we're gonna rank them. I just didn't know that.
Yeah. Say or write down what your number 12 would be.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So when I I did give Stacey the rundown like in a private message. I didn't realize I forgot to say, you need your whiteboard.
We've all got our
my
whiteboards
first
handy because we play trivia like every
we're
other night,
trivia
so,
nerds.
we're
Yeah,
trivia
I mean, I
nerds.
have one. It just gets out on my couch. I'm on my
It's right
couch.
here in my desk.
Yeah.
Let me slide it in here.
I have one in every room.
Got my erasers and my pens.
I mean,
Got my extra pens.
unlike review, you don't need to keep your hands on screen.
Oh yeah.
But Austin, what do you have for number 12?
Freaky.
Jordan.
Gremlins.
Oh boo.
This is Stacey.
Freaky.
Richie.
Even though I brought it up, I also said freaky.
I also had Gremlins.
I know what's going next. Look, Richie, I got pens too. I got a whole sack full. All right.
We'll play a bit of trivia, a wee little bit.
All right.
If you want to play more, a show about trivia live on the Pierce Go channel.
Always be plugging.
Actually, no, it's
Hey,
not.
hey, no spoiler.
But remember, oh wait, hang on. So
Freaky
Gremlins
one.
is 12. Okay, all right. I thought it
No,
was
freaky one.
Yeah.
It was freaky. He changed it.
Yeah.
I was trying to slip one past you.
Okay.
That's what I was doing.
Hey.
JPO, what do you have for 11?
Gremlins.
Stacey.
Tremors, just because I don't really remember it.
Richie.
Happy Death Day.
Gremlins 2. Austin.
You know what? Just so we don't play this game all night. Gremlins 2. I'm just glad I got it on the list.
I always do that. Why do I raise a thing I'm going to bring up anyway? Go anyway.
Stacey, what do you have for 10?
Tremors. I'm just gonna keep saying Tremors because
Richie.
Happy Death Day.
Taco and Dale. Austin.
Happy Death Day.
Jordan.
Abena Costello.
Happy Death Day is going to be number 10.
Yeah.
Chris really wants me to put up his comments about Creep 2.
Yeah, it fits the criteria, but that's not on top.
Yeah, I don't love Creep or Creep 2. They're fun.
I think they're not good at all.
I
Richie,
appreciate like the experimentalism of it, but yeah, it's not my favorite.
Richie, what do you have for 9?
Army of Darkness.
Tucker and Dale. Austin.
I love all the movies on this one more than this one, so I'll say Abena and Costello. But I'm glad I made the list.
JPO.
Abbott.
And Stacy.
Tremors.
Sorry to disappoint you, Stacey. This is my number 2 movie of all time.
It's fine. I can't really put anything else below it because I don't remember it. So,
It rules.
and I'm a big fan of all the other movies.
I got you. It's fine. I might do you a favor here in a second, just for sake of switching it up a little bit.
I'm sticking with Tucker and Dale. Austin.
Tremors. There you go, Stacey.
JPO.
Ghostbusters.
Stacy.
Tremors.
Richie.
It's right. Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness, which means it.
Tremors
quite
wins.
a bit.
Tremors
yeah.
wins.
I thought something else had been Army of Darkness, but yeah, Tremors is going to be 8.
It's all
Thanks
good.
for
It made the
throwing me
list.
the bone.
Hey, it made the list. I couldn't be happier. It's awesome. I love all the rest of these movies. There's not a bad one in the bunch. Hey, I'm a nice guy sometimes. I'm not always an asshole.
But Austin, what do you have for 7?
Army of Darkness.
JPO.
I'm sorry, I've been drawing my masterpiece, Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
Stacy.
Ghostbusters.
Richie.
Army of Darkness.
Tucker and Dale, and this time it is a tie, and because I was opposite from Ghostbusters and Army of Darkness, it's on me, and I'm just not going to say anything. You'll see it when I put the banner up.
That's fine.
It sees you.
I'm gonna write it down again.
I know. I always hate when that happens.
Which is like, I'm sure I know Malcolm. I know what he's going for. Stacy, what do you have for number 6?
Army of Darkness.
Richie.
Army of Darkness.
You had to write it again.
Tucker and Dale. Austin.
Army of Darkness. Sorry, Bruce.
And JPO.
Army of Darkness.
Just to recap what we've got left, we've got Zombieland, What We Do in the Shadows, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, Cabin in the Woods, and Shaun of the Dead. I'm going Tucker and Dale. Austin.
Just because the other ones are funnier, I'm going to say Cabin in the Woods.
Richie. JPO, sorry.
Just because the other ones are scarier, I'm going to say What We Do in the Shadows.
Stacy.
Tucker and Dale.
Richie.
Just because I don't have a razor, Shaun of the Dead.
So it's going to be Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale.
Austin, what do you have for 4?
Shaun of the Dead.
JPO.
What we do in the shadows?
Stacy.
I was trying to decide between Shaun of the Dead and another one, and I'll just make it simple and say Shaun of the Dead.
Richie.
I'm glad you did because I don't write it again. Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Down to Cabin in the Woods, What We Do in the Shadows, and Zombieland. JPO, what do you have for number 3?
What we do in the shadows?
Stacy.
Zombieland.
Richie.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, I'm sorry, talk about What We Do in the Shadows, Austin.
No.
Ty, Cabin in the Woods.
So Cabin in the Woods and What We Do in the Shadows. Stacy, which of the two do you want?
No, I don't want to pick. It's like a Sophie's Choice for me. You have no idea. Only because I think it really doesn't have the horror nearly as much, and I think Cabin in the Woods really mixes the two more. I'm gonna say What We Do in the Shadows, but I love it so much.
That actually made my decision for number 1 easier. Thank you.
Yeah, and now this time instead of going for your you go straight for your number 1. But Austin, what do you have for number 1?
Number 1, Zombieland.
JPO.
Cabin in the Woods.
Stacy.
So glad I'm not on a lonely island. Cabin in the Woods.
Richie.
Zombieland.
So currently 2 for 2. Cabin in the Woods.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. All right. I'm not mad about it.
But got Diaz yelling in the corner there.
Hey, Chris, this is something you never say. Hey, good list. Yeah, thanks, Scott. There was nothing I wouldn't have mentioned. There's nothing I wouldn't have mentioned that you haven't brought up. Thank you.
But with that being said, our list for top 12 horror comedies is at 12 we've got Freaky, at 11 we've got Gremlins 2: The New Batch, at 10 we got Happy Death Day, at 9 we got Abena, Costello met Frankenstein, at 8 we got Tremors, at 7 we got Ghostbusters, at 6 we got Army of Darkness, at 5 we got Tuck and Dale vs. Evil, at 4 we got Shaun of the Dead, at 3 we got What We Do in the Shadows, 2 we got Zombieland, and number 1 we got The Cabin in the Woods. But with that being said, as I said earlier, next week's show is going to be top 12 horror remakes or reboots. Whether it's going to be on Saturday or Sunday, I haven't decided yet. But Austin, where can people find you online?
Mainly over on the Movie Hero Network with Jordan Anderson. We were on a little break because we've been on vacation. We'll be coming back very, very soon. Tournament fights, tier ranker fights, everything in between. I'm in heavily in the movie Battleground over on TMG Entertainment and around the various trivia leagues that Jordan Owens might mention and a couple other people. So, yeah. There you go.
JPO, where can people find you online?
Online, the Pierce Co. We do some trivia, some movie trivia. Pierce Wrestling, we do some wrestling trivia. Soccer, Pierce, we do some soccer trivia. Yard bulb at Pierce. Oh no, the Pierce Co. is where you find all the movie stuff I do. Pierce Wrestling, all the wrestling stuff. Thanks for having me, Malcolm.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want, you can talk JPO offline. I don't think he'll like it.
I mean, if I know you, it's cool. Let's hang out.
Stacey, we can find you online.
I pop up on a judge sometimes on Movie Battleground and on the Dill Pickle Network. Sometimes you'll see me doing trivia or the draft day show, which is kind of similar.
Richie, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Movie Hero Network a lot, doing tournament fights and tier rank. You can find me. We just recently on Jordan's Piss Wrestling channel. I think we reviewed this week's AEW Dynamite. Last week's AEW Dynamite, whatever. I don't know. It's fine. So that's fine. And you can find me on Jordan's movie channel where I am gonna whoop Malcolm's ass in a show about trivia. Oh, well, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
I'll be watching that because I play the winner of that match, so I'll be watching that one closely.
Yeah.
It's right.
You can find me and my friend. Yeah. So
it's all right. Brian's giving me tips on how to beat Richie, so that's.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, also you can find me like me and my friend Robert Robert Cameron do a podcast about Tubi. We're just releasing on YouTube for now. The first episode was a movie called First of Bruce Lee, starring a guy named Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
But the second episode is going to drop on Tuesdays from The Man from Earth. Not the most Tubiest movie, if you know what I mean, but like there's still a fodder there. But yeah, and then keep an eye out. We're filming a bunch of them. The next one we're filming is that we'll be recording on Wednesday is Titanic 2. So that should be fun.
I've seen it.
I've seen it too.
Love some Asylum.
That's not true because my son was obsessed with the Titanic and he used to make me watch it, but I always fell asleep. So I actually haven't seen the full movie.
You can find me hosting Rankum every week on here next week. Top Shelf Horror remakes and reboots. I'm also pop up on the Movie Hero Network. Next time I'm going to be on is the 2018 continuation of Letter Series, which I did the randomization for this time around. I think the current plan is for it to be tomorrow, but Jordan's currently stuck in Florida at the moment.
Jordan's stuck because of flight delays and things. So this whole week might be a little wonky. So might have to push the whole schedule back a little bit.
But with that being said, that's the end of Rankum for today. But until next time.
I love you all.